You ready now?
Yep, let's go.
Okie dokie. Welcome back to the show. Hello.
Hello.
We're gonna pretend like we just didn't do another recording. So let's get this awkwardness out of the way. How are you doing? Not like we spent the past 2 hours talking. Hi there. Welcome to the More Sibyl podcast. This is a podcast for Blacks, Asians, and those who love them. I am Mo, and I am your host, ready to spark your curiosity as I take you on this adventurous ride of exploring cultures through the stories of my guests from all over the world. On this show, we get really personal, discussing salient issues that are relevant to our contemporary age and also building community around them. As our guests exercise courage and vulnerability in sharing their life's experiences, we hope that in turn you are inspired by them and that you get the courage needed to set your own stories free. Enjoy the ride, and thank you so much for listening.
Thinking of how I'm doing, I don't know if I don't think I mentioned to you this week that we currently have a very sunny, nice day today. It's 8 degrees, but it's sunny.
You people in the UK and the sun.
But we had snow yesterday.
It sounds like Oklahoma.
I know.
How many inches of snow?
Not much. It was wet snow. It wasn't the kind of snow that you saw on the ground.
Okay. It sounds like Oklahoma. We had like 40
But there was
degrees
snow on cars because of like overnights.
Yeah. We had 40 degrees Fahrenheit in the morning, and then it was like 80s something in the afternoon, and then back to it's bipolar weather. Anyways, welcome to Oklahoma, I guess. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something, but one of the things I wanted to say about having a co-host that lives in a different part of the world is you have to do this back-to-back recording. And every time you get on to record a new episode, you have to pretend like, oh, I'm just seeing you for the first time in a long while. But anyways, glad to have you back again.
I feel like you've just broken the illusion now. You just reminded me of there's something my current barber said to me. I mean, I've mentioned this to you. It's like very profound.
Tell me, because barbers come with a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, barbershop philosophy is where it's at, man.
Yeah. Especially for black men.
Yeah. So basically, my barber said, so people can't see this, but like my sideburns, they've never connected. It's like
are they social distancing? You've been doing SD before I
have more facial hair than anyone else in my family, like all my siblings.
Okay.
Like we have facial hair issues in my family. It's a thing, right? And my variation of it, my expression of it, my phenotypy, to use the technical term, is that my sideburns do not connect to my beard. Like I just have like an oasis of skin.
A little isthmus. They are social distancing.
For real. And it's weird.
And it's almost exact two sides, right?
Yeah. It's a bit less on my right side than on my left, but it's close.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. When I go to cut my hair, I like to cut it as if it's there. Mm-hmm. And so like when the barber was asking me, this was the first time he was cutting my hair. He's a really good barber. He was asking me how would I like to do it, and I explained to him what I'd like to do. And then we sort of made a little joke together about like it's the illusion. We're going to make the hair like there's something there even though there's nothing. And then he said to me that the person who trained him, right, to be a barber, said to him that actually there's no perfect haircuts. Mm-hmm. That all we do, we being barbers, but like humans in general, is we're always creating the illusion of a perfect haircut.
Oh.
And I was like, I feel like that's life wisdom right there.
Yeah,
it can be more than haircuts.
Exactly, to a lot of situations, friendships,
parenting,
relationships.
It's like
at work.
Yeah, it's. But the interesting thing about it, which actually ties back again to the hair thing, is, our memory as humans. Our memory is in snapshots, right? It's not in. We remember snapshots and clips. We don't remember like whole movies.
The whole thing, yeah. When you're an animal.
Exactly. But like what that then sort of implies is we become we get to pick which memories, in a sense, we're going to focus on, right? Like that's one of the skills. That's one of the things that you actually can do in therapy. And it's one of the things that, you know, you sort of realize as you grow older is you don't get to pick your life experiences, but you get to pick the weight you give to which memories. And sometimes it takes us a while to realize that.
Especially because we are prone to remembering the negative ones. So we're
naturally prone to remembering the negative ones.
Bias. So we
because
need to,
survival.
Yes.
They're the ones you need to remember to stay alive.
Otherwise you get eaten, right? It's why we need to, like, you know, not forget it, but at the same time not give them too much weight, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and not just not giving them weight, but also learning to reframe them, which is like a big part of like cognitive behavioral therapy, right? Is yes, this happened, but the meaning that you give to it
is much important than what happened.
The meaning is not built into the memory.
It's something you can carve, you know.
You get to give it meaning. And a big part of maturing and growing is realizing that you have that ability to give meaning.
Especially in powerless situations. In situations where your power was taken away from you.
Yeah,
it's a time to actually redeem that power and be like, I can actually reframe this. But that can be quite insensitive to when you're telling somebody who maybe, for example, was raped. How do you tell them?
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. But that's where therapy comes in, because it's not something that you probably want to. Again, you can do it on your own for like relational bruises.
Give it meaning.
Not for like relational stabs. Yeah. Like for those ones, you're going to need help. And that's where like a therapy, a really good relationship or friend, a counselor, that sort of thing. That's where all of those sorts of things come in.
It's funny how every episode we've talked about so far, you always find a way to naturally just bring in therapy. And I like that, by the way, because, you know, I'm all about therapy. Maybe that could be like our plug-in. Like every episode, we should find a way to just get back
plug.
I don't know, but this is like the third time we're recording, and I like it, is what I'm saying. And it's organic. And I know you're not trying to sell anything. I just like it. I'm trying to say, I observe that.
Well, I mean, okay, thanks.
So speaking of memories, I'm going to do a non sequitur right now. I know you have your big birthday coming up soon. And that's really huge. It's very monumental. So I want to say first, happy birthday in advance. So.
Thank you.
We know you're also a hermit. And
are we releasing this on my birthday?
No, your birthday will not have that. It's gonna be a week after. Yeah, it's gonna be. So
that means so you're saying happy birthday in advance, but people are going to hear it after the birthday. You just broke time. Congrats. You just broke the space-time continuum.
I've broken 2 rules. The third rule, I should be fired. Yeah. Happy birthday, Naria. So it was your birthday some days ago, right? And birthdays are huge. So now you should tell me what you did for your birthday. So who's going to be laughing now, huh? How was your birthday?
It better be good.
No, because this is the future, right? Anyways, as at the time of this recording, your birthday, hasn't been held yet. But I know that you probably have something planned. But I guess my first question would be this. What's your most memorable birthday, and why was it memorable? We need time, location, details, plan.
I've never thought about that before, but the first one that came to mind was the birthday I celebrated in medical school, which you probably will remember because it was the only birthday I celebrated in medical school.
Your daughter, was it 7? I think... Was it 7?
No, I can't remember the name of my room. But the one I invited people over and everything. And I did it because one of my aunts had said that she thinks I should celebrate my birthday. And then another aunt had given me some money to do it.
So why is it that you don't like celebrating birthdays, or?
It's not birthdays. I don't hate it. I'm just not a days person in general.
But it's your birthday. Like, it's when you came out of your mother's hoo-ha. It's worth celebrating. Are you the same way with other people's birthday as well? Because it's one thing not to be like...
No, definitely. I'm sure you know I'm not.
So So why don't you think you matter in this conversation?
It's not about not mattering. It's
people
more like
you actually scare me. How can you say you care about me when you're not caring about your birthday? Like,
no. So
where's the care coming from for my own birthday, for example?
I care about people's birthdays because they care about their birthdays.
What kind of logic is that? It's kind of like, don't never trust a mad, naked person who gives you clothes. So where is your care and love coming from when you don't even,
they don't necessarily know all this, so it doesn't make any difference to them.
Well, now I've called you out on it. But seriously, like, have you always, because even as a child, right, you don't even have to plan your birthday. Your parents plan them for you. Did you have birthday parties growing up and birthday celebrations in your house?
Like, maybe that's part of it, is I don't think I had a lot. I'm trying to remember. I remember a few. I did have a few, but it wasn't like a regular thing. Okay. But yeah, we always celebrated birthdays in my family. Like, it just wasn't always a party. A lot of time it was just like... No,
it was parties. I mean...
Yeah, a lot of time it was just...
cake
and... Yeah, a lot of it was, hang out in the house, we get special cake and things.
Rice
like,
and...
always did that.
Jollof rice and meat. Yeah.
But I think maybe partly it wasn't a massive thing growing up. So maybe that was part of it as well. So like, I didn't grow up expecting like you always got a birthday gift, that sort of thing. Like, sometimes you would, sometimes you wouldn't. Do you get what I mean? But it wasn't like, oh, this is the... Like, I didn't grow up having the whole tradition of your birthday is when you get to ask for like all the things. So maybe that was part of it. But I think a lot of it is really just my personality. Because like I said, it's not just birthdays. I'm just not like at the end of the day, it's just a day. Do you know what I mean? Like, these things are social constructs, and that's not to denigrate.
How are we friends? No, take that back. What do you mean by social constructs? Your birthdays are not a social construct. It's an important day in your life. It's one day out of 360 something days where you're supposed to celebrate your existence, and I refuse to believe it's a construct.
It's
okay. I don't think we agree on this, but that's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just that's just like, yeah. I think it's like, to be clear, like I said, I don't have a problem with, when I say this, I don't mean it to mean that I don't think people should do it. Right? This is not a comment on how people see birthdays or special days and all that.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't have any strong feelings about it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. It's okay. I think we're spending too much time on this. But let's go back to the birthday you had in Idiraba. What made that special? I mean, apart from your two aunties like helping you out and making sure you celebrated it, what do you remember fondly about that moment? What other things, rather, do you remember fondly about that moment?
It was really nice to have people. So basically, this was for everyone else, basically, this was the birthday where it wasn't like a massive thing. I think I bought, was it cakes I bought? I can't remember. I bought drinks, and then I bought some sort of finger foods, but I can't remember exactly what. What we call small chops in Nigeria.
Samosas and
it wasn't even like the fancy samosa stuff. Like that was even, like, it wasn't very expensive. So like, it was, I used the money well.
Yeah.
And I basically told people I'm doing a little thing, come back to my room, there'll be drinks and stuff. I got a friend, we got like sound system, we had music playing. I remember, Sheyi Ayokogwe helped with like DJing.
Yes, I was gonna mention that part. Yeah. DJ Sanctified. Shout out to him.
Yeah. We helped with like DJing and and all of that. And that was it. It wasn't like a big thing, but like people came, and quite a lot more people came than I imagined would come. And it wasn't like all at once. It was very much rotational.
Like we do, because
Yeah. And then I had a couple of friends. And I think you helped with this, actually. I had a couple of friends who helped with like serving and all that.
I did? I don't remember.
I think you did. Who helped with like serving all the guests and everything. So I really had time, because one of the things I really hate about parties is when like you go to a party and then the host is caught up with like serving and everything.
Like in Maria,
and then the host doesn't really have time to, because I'm like this, but then I've come to realize again, because everyone's different. Some people really enjoy that, and for them that's what makes them happy. But like for me, my mind, like if I do that kind of thing, I want to spend time with those people. That's why they're there. And if I don't get to spend time with them and I'm spending time like serving, then it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
So I really was grateful for like all the people who helped with that. And I took pictures. I still have pictures. They're still in Nigeria, actually.
Really? Why did you bring them?
Yeah, for some luggage.
Luggage pictures? Okay,
23 kilograms.
We're not going to go into that. I mean,
I kind of regret that.
I can just travel with a handbag.
Well, what I could do is if I go back to Nigeria now and I had time,
just scan them.
I'll do it on my next trip. I will take pictures of every single picture. But here's the thing
I want to scan them and digitize them.
Yeah, but what I'm even going to say is like I took pictures of so I will need to take pictures of the back as well. Because I wrote on the back of every photo. Later on. Yeah. So I wrote on the back of every photo who was in the photo and a little bit of like story or narrative about that person or about what was going on with the photo or something. Yeah. And I did that for every single photo that from that birthday.
Okay.
So yeah, I really need to do that actually and like scan the whole thing.
To be nice to see some of the
and like
ones.
proper digitize it.
So would you say that I'm trying to just, make some meanings out of what you've talked about so far. Birthdays can be a big deal, but I guess because of just the way it can be quite stressful for you, would you say your ideal birthday would be one that was planned for you or someone threw like a party for you and then took care of all the kinks and you can get to hang out with people that you really cared about?
Yes, but not like a big party.
I know.
More like a small thing. With people I care about.
Yeah.
So not just like random people. They won't be random people, but you know what I mean? Like not
people that intentional about,
Yeah, because But the thing is, I don't know. Yeah, like I think that's it really. It's something like that. And having arguments and debates about like subjects that we're passionate about but disagree on.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun to me.
Okay. Noted. Now, am I at liberty to talk about just what makes this particular birthday special?
What, the fact that I'm turning 40?
Yes, it's your Ruby birthday, which is, man, you're old.
Of course you know that it's Ruby birthday. I was even thinking about that.
You're old. I can't believe I'm friends with a 40-year-old.
Are you about to call me Rube?
That too.
I feel like you're about to call me Rube.
So, you know how this is like the part of world we live in, right? Life expectancy is somewhere around the 70s and 80s. So you're really entering middle age right now. Do you think and I probably know the answer you can give to this question, but for the sake of those who don't really know you, let's just explore that a little bit. What do you think, what has it been like, just the thought of you knowing that you're 40? Because imagine when we were still teenagers, when you think about a 40-something-year-old, you thought of them as like Methuselah, like this person is really, really old. But now that you're like what thoughts have been going through your mind entering this new decade of your life?
I think I had that at 30 actually.
Oh, okay, yeah. 10 years. Yeah.
30 was when I had that sort of
epiphany.
No, like the age, like 30 was the age that felt like old when I was young. And I remember hitting 30 and thinking,
this is it.
Here we are then.
Over the hill.
So yeah, I think that, I don't know. It's an interesting time, I think. So there's a couple of tensions, I think. I think the one side of the tension is the obvious aspect of like, okay, you're getting older. Are you where you thought you'd be at 40?
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, the answer is no, I'm not. Right? But then in other ways, there's other things, there's other places that I'm at that I also did not expect to be, that I'm very glad that I am.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. But then there's also the aspect of I'm kind of not, I don't know, like I'm happy with it. I'm not a friend of mine. It's funny because different people think different things. So some people feel like not like it's depressing or anything, but everyone talks about sort of the sense of getting older and just sort of
like your mortality. Your mortality, like it becomes more obvious to you. Like, man, this is it.
Yeah, but I'm okay with it. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the thing. Like, and I think maybe because I've spent a while coming to terms with this. So basically, like last 10 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe also because death and life and things like that, things that have never been far from my mind. Like even from like my teens. And not like in a morbid sense, just in a sense of
awareness, yeah.
Of this is the reality. Like it's just what it is. But I think more recently it's also coming to realize I've been coming to value what it means to be older. And it's interesting because on one side I also see like, I mean, yeah, in some ways, there's more gray in my beard. I used to have, for the last few years, I've had one strand of gray on my beard and one strand in my hair. Now it's a few strands. It's not one anymore. And I'm actually looking forward to when, like, it's gray, like proper gray, or like there's a nice bunch of gray in there.
I'll be sending you a Botox kit for your birthday, by the way, and a dye to kind of dye your hair back.
But like, yeah, so this came to mind because last time, going back to my barber again, he commented on my hair and asked if I was thinking of dyeing it if he got more anything. I was like, no. I have no such intention. The thought had not even crossed my mind. But it got me thinking about, actually, that's what a lot of people do. Obviously not everybody, but definitely it's not something I have any intention to, because like, so, and it made me think about one of the other things I've been thinking about is I'm leaning, and I intend to lean into getting older. And by leaning into it, I mean, yes, obviously I want to stay healthy and fit as long as I can. But in my mind, there's a very clear difference between fitness and health and how I look. And I don't feel like I have any interest in looking less old. Does that make sense?
You want to embrace it?
Yeah, I'm fully embracing it. And the reason why, and so for me, even the fitness and everything is not about looking less old, even though I know obviously being fit helps with that. It's about literally being fit and being as fit as I am the older I get. But yeah, I don't have any interest in looking. That said, it's probably easy for me to say that because
that's what I was saying, like, because the industry is really targeting a lot of women who just open a magazine, even for those that talk about healthy lifestyle. It's just over-polished, over-photoshopped pictures, and there's a lot of pressure on women to look a certain way. So would you say it's easy for you to say because you don't have the luxury of that pressure?
Yeah, yes, I am lucky to have good genes, I guess, because no, I mean it's good genes because it definitely is not me. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously I've tried to take care of myself and everything, but I know that I think I look younger than I have any right to look. Right? And I think that's just, a lot of the older people in my family, I think, are similar. So that I'm lucky for you, because I definitely not do anything to contribute to it. But having said, so yeah, on some level, I suppose it's easy for me to say. But yeah, I think the reason is because the reason why some of it is deliberate. The reason why I'm not going to care too much about looking younger per se is because I think it's one of like the cultural mistakes that we've made is idolizing youth. And, it's like youth is youth. That's all it is. It's not inherently better or worse. It's just, and I think that's something that I'm doing more and more in my life in general is learning to embrace different things as simply different.
Yeah. Without
necessarily hierarchizing them. Right. It's like there's there's benefits to being young and there's benefits to being old. There's downsides to both as well. And sort of embracing where you are when you're there.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to be
stuck
like focusing on where you're not, basically.
Yeah.
And it's something I think a lot about, like even with like weather, right? Like C.S. Lewis, one of the things he used to talk about that he learned was, not to love any particular weather as such, but to like lean into the beauty of all weather, right? Like enjoy the gray day for its grayness as much as you enjoy the sunny day for its warmth.
Sunshine, yeah. Okay, fair enough. So 40, I know you had mentioned something earlier which I want to piggyback on, which was you're not where you thought you were going to be by 40, but you've also done a lot for someone that, that's 40. How do you, and I feel like life as a whole is that constant thread of I'm satisfied, but I'm still not satisfied in certain areas. How do you balance those two thoughts, those two streams of thoughts? Especially now that you're 40 and people tend to...
I'm not 40 yet. Well, I will be by the time of this podcast.
Yeah, but 40 is like that age where people start looking at you like, okay, you should have figured everything together, right? Like, it's almost like no more excuses.
I don't know. I think that's a good question. And I feel like people say that's a good question when...
They don't have an answer.
No. Well, when it's a question they've never really thought about before.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, like, that's a good question. Is like, you just asked a question that I've never actually thought about.
You actually helped me get there because it was your response that I piggybacked on.
Yeah, I guess. I think on one hand, it's probably the awareness, I think, is how I deal with the tension. Like, I'm aware, for instance, that there is pressure on me, explicit and implicit, to worry, I think. I'm aware of it from all sorts of things. I'm aware of, recently I made a joke about someone's age, which, I didn't intend meanly or anything. It was kind of thing that I'd said before I realized, and I knew that they were not, well, I won't say they were unhappy. They joked about it, but like the joke they made was something like, I shouldn't have joked about it. And this was like someone who was genuinely older. This is someone who's like, maybe like late 70s, and, it was basically something so basically this is someone who'd been married, and I was thinking about the fact that they've been married longer than I'd been alive.
Oh, you mentioned that. I think you said.
And I said that, but I said it when I said it was not like meant to be ageist at all, and I see how it could have come across that way. I said it just the amazement of like wow. When I think it's like, so for me it's like I'm thinking of like, so as long as I've been alive is how long these people have been married and change. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, it put it into context for me, like, wow. But then they saw it, as it's sort of maybe not a negative light, but it was, there was that consciousness of the potential ageism in the comments. And it's things like that I think about, like the fact that I'm sad, I guess, that we live in a society where that is seen as a bad thing. Because to me, that's an amazing thing, that if two people have been able to be together for that long, that is wild.
It is wild.
And it's but it's, if we're in the kind of culture where what we focus on is the age comment of it, that's sad. I think that's sad. And especially because, like, historically the elders in the community were like this, they were the source of, like, they embodied the communal wisdom. They were the keepers of the stories. Do you know what I mean? That joke, not that joke, the saying about like the strength of the young and the wisdom of the aged, that sort of and I love that saying so much because it captures the fact of like each one brings something different, rather than sort of the modern sense of older people as like, oh, well, that we don't have any more use for them, which is unfortunate and sad because that is not true. So yeah, it's just stuff like that.
Those are wise words, and thanks for sharing those. And I think the beauty from what you've said so far is just, again, whatever phase you're in, it's just reframing your mind, like we talked about reframing, and just enjoying what it brings, even in the most difficult situations.
Yeah, I mean, think about the fact that when we're young, we all wanted to be older, didn't we?
I know. What was the worry? And I have friends with kids.
And then you get older and then you want to be young. And it's like you're missing out both ways.
I have friends with kids. I've become that auntie, right? I have friends with like, teenage daughters and, teenage sons. And I'm always the auntie that tells them, don't be in a hurry. Enjoy. And I'm sure they roll their eyes like, oh my gosh, Auntie Mo is here again. But why are we in a hurry to just grow up? Now you have bills, you have responsibilities. You can't even get out of the adult life. Like it's forever adulting. So, yep. I guess for 40, and I keep mentioning your age, which is so sexist ageist of me, by the way. Will be, I guess, given this new era that you're entering, I've heard it. I think when I turned 20. Henry Olamiju, which, if you remember, he came for my birthday. And
I'm not that old.
Harry, shout out to Harry, by the way. He came for my birthday and then he had said some things to me, which I never forgot. It was like 20 is when you're kind of trying to discover your life. 30 is when you begin to put, meaning to it and you start living it out. And then 40 is like the definition of it and it's just over it. You just, from there you take it as a trend. What are some of the things you hope will happen, to you in this new decade? What are you looking forward to, most especially?
Well, I think. So let me start with where I feel like I'm at. I feel like where I'm at is I'm in this place where I feel more confident than I've ever been.
I've heard people say that.
Yeah, I feel more confident because I feel like I've made mistakes. I've tried things. Some have worked, some haven't. And the confidence is not the confidence of certainty. It's the confidence of limits. It's like I have a good sense of what I can do and what I can't do. So I can relax, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's how I think about it. It's like the confidence of limits, and it's limits in more senses than one, because it's also like the limit of time, because the reality is by the time you hit 40, you'll be lucky to see another 40. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For many people, after this is 20 more. For some, it's 10 more. For some, it's 30 more. For a few, it's 40 more and more than that. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a very good chance that I'm halfway through my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so is that limitation? And again, I don't say that with a sense of like sadness or anything. It's just like, it's like hard realities, right? But like, it's like gravity. Like, you don't need to be depressed about gravity.
It's gonna hit you.
It's just gravity. You just need to respect it. And I think that's where I'm at. It's like, I have a healthy respect for the limits of reality and of my own self. And I have a healthy sense, I think. I like to hope it's healthy, of those limits, right? And I'm at peace with that. So I think that's where the confidence is from.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, go on. No, finish. I thought you were done with your thoughts. No.
Well, yeah. So in terms of the next decade, I guess it's sort of leaning into that and sort of using the next decade to sort of explore the things I want to do with that confidence.
So you've gained. Okay. I've heard it said no. I mean, definitely makes sense. And I've heard it said about people in their 40s, like, is that, for the lack of a better word, like, almost like you've reached your no bullshit years. Like, you don't even care about, like, you care, but it's not like you're caring so much about what people are thinking about you.
You choose what you care about.
Exactly. And you can say things with that confidence, like,
you don't have to care about things because you're supposed to.
Exactly. I've collected enough gems around the sun to be able to say this. And I whatever you feel about it, that's your headache. I cannot wait to experience that kind of liberty because, I'm still considerably younger.
That's the thing is, I don't think you have to be 40 to experience it.
At least culturally speaking, you know what I'm talking about.
But I think there's something about, because this, like, obviously I've had this confidence over the last couple years, right? So it's not necessarily 40, but it's just like I'm coming into this decade with that confidence.
Yeah.
Well,
lucky for you, and however you spend it, wishing you a happy birthday. I guess. What are you not looking forward to?
For my birthday or for my next 2 years?
For your next decade. I don't know. Okay, let me just say what is on my mind. I'm not because
I feel like you have a thought there.
No. Let me just explore it. It's a theory I'm working with. The older you get, the more you start doing all of your health checkups, you start having some scares, like, because I have friends now that are on, maybe if it's an oral anti-diabetic or something for their blood pressure or something for arthritis, and you're seeing that trend happening more and more, and I'm like, what is going on? So I'm just curious to know, are you seeing that in your circle of friends as well, where you're not as, limber and agile as you were before, and things are becoming more real?
That's why working out is becoming is something I'm taking a lot more seriously. Which goes back to what I was saying earlier about, like, I do want to be in good physical health. That is important to me. I've always had the thoughts of, and this was partly from my grandfather, who was very fit until he got really old. And like, he's not fit anymore, but he's also like much, much, much older now, right? Like well into his 80s.
Yeah.
So, but like,
he's still alive?
Yeah. But like in his 70s, he was still quite
the fit. One with the Bible, the one who, Yoruba Bible.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he was still alive. This is your maternal grandfather, right?
So did I say 80s? I think I need to even be sure. I think he might be 90.
Yeah. Is it like your dad's
my mom's dad. Right? And he was really fit well into like 70s. And I remember that. I remember thinking, I want to be like that. I want to be, I don't want my mind to be alive and my body can keep up. As much as is within my power to do anything about it. Because the way I think about it is, technically from a biological point of view, we all start dying at 20. From our 20s, right? That's when you stop growing. And once you stop growing, you're basically dying. So the whole point is, how can I die as slow as possible? Right?
Yeah.
Like, we're also ticking time bombs from like our 20s up.
We're dying slowly. It's a slow death. Yeah.
Right? And so it's like what do I need to do to make sure that I don't outlive my own body as much as it is within my power to do something about that.
Yeah.
And I'm saying within my power because obviously, things happen.
You can do. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, what can I do? And there's a lot that we can do, right? So it's why, I try to close my rings. I don't play with closing my rings. Right.
So for those that are wondering, he uses this. If you have a smartwatch,
my Apple Watch.
Yeah. For
or
movement,
whatever you have.
Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't have to be an Apple Watch, but for me, that was a big.
Rings. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we all have flaws.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, like, but also I'm trying to get better with things like flexibility. So I've started doing like, you know, yoga exercises and Pilates. I'm trying to build my strength.
Yeah.
You know, because strength is also important, because one of the things that happens as you get older is you lose body strength. But your muscles. But again, that depends on how much strength you had to begin with.
Yeah, and for women, it's actually much, much faster. And if you're on certain medications, you might lose it.
Yeah.
And, you know,
because of the whole estrogen, you know, issue and everything and loss and then that affects, you know, osteoporosis and bone strength and all that.
Yep.
So it's just, I'm very conscious of that, of building all of that, but I'm not scared. I think I'm not scared because
you feel more equipped right now. At least you know what.
Maybe because as a doctor, like I've seen things happen to people. I'm like, it's almost like I know things happen, but like they're so unpredictable. You know, there's some that are predictable, and those are the ones that, you know, I'm trying to do something about. But there are others that are not predictable. Like, you know, people get brain tumors. Like, what do you want to do about that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not in anyone's control.
It's not. And for some that might even, for example, like you said, some of them might even have like very strong genetic, predisposition to a lot of issues. This might not be the conversation. So, like, for you.
Getting health checks for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Even though sometimes it's very scary for me to go into, I think I've told you about this, going for my doctor's appointment really fills me with love dread. But I still have to get it done because I need to see those numbers and keep like a chart of my previous values to make sure that I'm keeping things, you know, in check. And I'm surprised you haven't mentioned this yet. We've talked a lot about physical health. Mental health is very important. It's why I still do my monthly therapy, even though sometimes it's costing me an arm and a leg, and I love my therapist. She's super expensive, but because I do want to start putting myself out there, trying to look for the perfect, you know, fit and starting all over again, talking about my quirks, who hurt me, who touched me, or whatnot. I decided to just go with her, but she's
therapy is relationships, man.
It is, but it's expensive, you know. It's like,
in the US.
In the US, it is. I mean, I could go for someone cheaper that will my insurance will cover, but she doesn't. She's private pay, you know. But it's worth it, you know. And I know that I can't be lying to this person anytime I go in. So I think it's also helping me because I have to have an agenda, and I have to.
Don't be lying to yourself.
Exactly, but for that cost $100, no, you know, per session. No, I better be telling you everything I'm going through. So, yeah, mental health. You know, there's emphasis on physical health. Mental health also, you know, matters. So if it's therapy, if it's talking to somebody, you know, do that for yourself. It's really worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really done with all of my questions about your birthday. I don't know if you had any final thoughts before we wrap up this session.
I don't know, man. What can I say?
But seriously,
another summer another revolution around the sun.
You were in your 20s, and now I'm knowing you as almost like a 40-year-old somebody. It's really a pleasure to. I won't say I've seen you grown because that's not even the idea. It's nice to like.
It's debatable.
No, not that. Because me saying that to you is almost putting myself as like, you know, I'm older than you, which is, you know. I
don't think it has to mean that though. I don't think that has to be the point.
So, I mean,
you can see someone grow.
Proper Yoruba person. But
you can see someone
shush. I shouldn't be calling out your growth. I think it's a bit disrespectful. We're calling out your growth like this, like, oh, I've seen you grow into, like, it's just, I feel like there's a little bit of disrespect that comes with that. But you know what I mean when I say that? I've seen more of you, and it's been a pleasure to get a. You know, the way
you go about this thing, someone would think that you are like 10 years younger than me.
Excuse me?
You're just out here deceiving the people.
I'm almost. If you round down to the nearest number, yes.
You're just out here deceiving the people.
Round down, keep it down, yes.
No, I will protect the real numbers, but I just want people to know.
I'm still in my 30s. I don't know about you. You know how you go to the market to price the market? If you can price my age down to the nearest 30. I will allow that. But anyways, it's been a pleasure just, seeing just more of you and seeing you just seeing you, who you've been, and the many variants of you. And I want to say many shades of you, but that sounded very shady.
40 shades of May.
Well, exactly. Well, just there's some things that have been consistent with you, which, is really always good to see. And there's some things that have also changed in a good way with you. But I think all in all, it's just, I'm thankful for your life.
Me always asking questions and stressing people out.
But it's good though. I think
that's one thing that I've been doing forever.
But it's good. It's good. And I know you're the person to come to for that, which is kind of good. I like that consistency. I know that if I'm not ready to be asked those questions in a way that I'm not ready to explore it, stay away. Because it's bound to happen, So it's almost like you're putting yourself through it, but it's to grow in that certain area. But anyways, all I'm just trying to say is that happy birthday. And I cannot wait to see just what this new decade unrolls for you. And I pray that more good things happen for you because you really do deserve it. So however you spend it, I hope you take out some time not to be like a hermit and treat yourself because you deserve it. It's not just a day. It's the day. And in your case, it's a ruby day. It's a day full of rubies. See what I did there? Anyways, that was it, guys. This was the episode with myself and Ayomide. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to share with your friends and comment if there are topics you'd like for us to explore. Let us know.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Catch you guys on another episode of the World Sibyl podcast.